Dr. Elena Martinez rubbed her tired eyes, squinting at the data streaming across her monitor at the ALNA Observatory in Chile. The crisp mountain air whistled outside her window as the first rays of dawn painted the Atacama Desert in shades of gold. Something about these readings didn't make sense. "Carlos, can you check these deceleration patterns?" She called to her research assistant. "I'm seeing objects at the edge of the Kuiper belt that are slowing down." That's not possible." Carlos wheeled his chair over, his usual cheerful expression turning serious as he studied the numbers. Could it be instrument error? Elena shook her head, her dark curls bouncing with emotion. 3 separate arrays are picking up the same thing. Whatever these objects are, they're massive. Each one bigger than anything we've ever detected out there. And they're moving with purpose. Within hours, observatories across the globe began confirming ALNA's findings. The Harvard-Smithsonian Center reported similar readings. The European Southern Observatory's very large telescope swiveled to track the anomalies. Even amateur astronomers with powerful enough equipment started sharing images on social media. Elena hadn't slept in 36 hours when the first clear image came through. The objects were ships, sleek, crystalline structures that seemed to bend light around them. Their surfaces rippled like liquid metal, but their movements were precise and deliberate. The formation they maintained was too perfect to be natural. As she prepared to send her findings to the International Astronomical Union, every screen in the observatory flickered to life simultaneously. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. Carlos' tablet lit up on the desk. Even the old emergency radio in the corner crackled with static before clearing into a voice that seemed to echo inside Elena's head as much as in the air. "People of Earth," the voice resonated in perfect Spanish, though Elena knew others would hear it in their own languages. "Your world has been chosen. We have watched your development for millennia. Your potential is noteworthy, but your path is flawed. Submit to our guidance, and we will elevate your species. Resist, and we will begin again with those who survive." The message repeated 3 times before the screens returned to normal. Elena's hands trembled as she reached for her satellite phone to call the observatory director. Before she could dial, a text message arrived from her friend at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. "Are you seeing this? They just passed Jupiter's orbit. 8 days at current velocity until they reach Earth." Elena looked out her window at the peaceful desert landscape, knowing it might be one of the last quiet moments Earth would experience. "Carlos," she said softly, "call your family. Tell them you love them. Then we have work to do." The young researcher nodded, understanding written across his face. In 8 days, everything would change. But until then, they had data to analyze, calculations to make, and maybe, just maybe, a chance to find something in their research that could help humanity face what was coming. Dr. Priya Patel stared at the ancient radar display in the Indian Space Research Organization's backup facility, her mind racing. While the rest of the world focused on the aliens' advanced ships now orbiting Earth, she couldn't stop thinking about an anomaly in the data from an obsolete tracking station in Tamil Nadu. "Run it again," she instructed her team, adjusting her glasses. The oscilloscope flickered to life, its green lines dancing across the screen. "There, did you see that?" Her colleague, Dr. Raman, leaned forward. "The echo? That's just interference from their cloaking fields." "No," Priya pointed to the pattern. "Our old long-wave radar is picking up something the modern systems miss. Their shields have a blind spot." The discovery spread quickly through secured channels. While the alien ships could deflect modern phased array radar and lidar with ease, they had never encountered the specific frequencies used by Earth's older technology. It was like having a state-of-the-art virus scanner that couldn't detect an obsolete computer worm. In orbit, the alien fleet commander, Supreme Navigator Ixel, watched with growing confusion as Earth's nations appeared to power down their advanced defense systems. Satellite networks went dark. Modern radar installations fell silent. To their sensors, it looked like submission. They couldn't have been more wrong. Across the globe, Engineers were retrofitting Cold War-era equipment. In England, the RAF recommissioned mothballed radar stations. In Siberia, technicians reactivated abandoned early warning systems. The Great Pine Radar Wall in Canada hummed to life for the first time in decades. Supreme Navigator Ixal's second reported, the humans appear to be reverting to primitive technology. Their resistance crumbles. Ixal's membrane-covered eyes narrowed. Something felt wrong. Begin the first planetary acquisition strike. Target their largest military installations. The alien ships descended through the atmosphere, their shields rippling with confident energy. They never saw the network of vintage radar stations tracking their every move, coordinating Earth's response through landlines and analog signals their sensors dismissed as background noise. In her bunker, Priya watched the first battle unfold. Modern weapons, guided by retooled radar systems, found gaps in alien defenses that should have been impenetrable. The primitive technology they had scorned became humanity's greatest asset. We've lost 4 ships, Ixal's second reported, mandibles clicking in distress. Impossible. Their weapons are inferior. Recall the fleet, Ixal commanded. We must reassess. As the alien ships retreated to a higher orbit, Priya allowed herself a small smile. Sometimes, she told Dr. Raman, the oldest tools are the best ones. They never expected us to look backward to move forward. The first battle was over. Humanity had bloodied the nose of an interstellar empire using technology that belonged in museums. But Priya knew this was just the beginning. The aliens would adapt, analyze, return. Yet for the first time since their arrival, Earth had hope. Sometimes, the greatest strength lies not in having the newest technology, but in understanding the value of what came before. Dr. Isabella Santos crouched over her microscope in the underground laboratory beneath Sao Paulo University, watching in fascination as the sample from a crashed alien ship reacted to Earth's microorganisms. Her team had been working nonstop since military forces recovered fragments of alien technology during the first battle. Joao, come look at this, she called to her research partner. The bacterial culture from the Amazon rainforest soil. It's actually communicating with the alien biotech. Dr. Joao Oliveira peered through the microscope, his eyes widening. On the slide, common soil bacteria were forming unprecedented patterns around the alien cellular matrix. Rather than attacking each other, they were creating something entirely new. Their technology isn't purely mechanical, Isabella explained, excitement building in her voice. It's a hybrid system. They've merged biological components with their machines, but they never encountered Earth's biodiversity. Our planet's microscopic life forms aren't attacking their systems. They're trying to form a symbiotic relationship. Above ground, the alien fleet maintained their orbital position, their ship's self-repair systems struggling against an invisible enemy. Microscopic Earth organisms, carried into orbit by the debris from the first battle, were already beginning their work. In the alien command ship, Supreme Navigator Ixal received disturbing reports. Our bioneural networks are experiencing unprecedented mutation rates, his chief scientist reported. The local biological agents are far more aggressive than our simulations predicted. Isabella's discovery quickly reached other research centers. In Kenya, scientists found that soil bacteria from the Great Rift Valley could interface with alien computing systems. In Japan, researchers discovered that certain deep-sea microorganisms could naturally produce compounds that strengthened the alien biotechnology rather than destroying it. We've been looking at this all wrong, Isabella explained during an emergency UN video conference. We don't need to destroy their technology. We need to help it evolve. Earth's microorganisms aren't just weapons, they're potential allies. She displayed a hologram showing the interaction between Earth bacteria and alien technology. Their ships are partially alive, but they're limited, restricted. Our planet's biodiversity offers them something they've never experienced: freedom to grow, to adapt, to become more than what they were engineered to be. Around the world, Scientists began cultivating specific bacterial strains that could enhance rather than destroy alien biotechnology. Each success brought new understanding of both Earth's microscopic life and the aliens' biological systems. Their greatest mistake, Isabella told Joao as they prepared another batch of cultures, was thinking Earth's life was primitive just because it's small. They never understood that true sophistication isn't about size or complexity. It's about adaptation, cooperation, and survival. In orbit, the alien ship's biological components continued to change, influenced by Earth's smallest inhabitants. The revolution that would turn the tide of war wasn't happening on battlefields or in space. It was taking place at a microscopic level, in laboratories and petri dishes across the globe. Uncle Charlie watched the alien scout ship through the heat haze of the Gibson Desert, his weathered face revealing nothing. Beside him, Special Forces Captain Sarah Mitchell waited silently, learning the patience that had kept the Aboriginal people alive in this harsh landscape for over 60,000 years. They're looking with new eyes, but seeing with old minds, Uncle Charlie whispered, pointing to the way the alien vessel moved. They follow patterns, like a dingo hunting. They don't understand there are older ways to move through country. Sarah nodded, thinking of how the aliens' advanced sensors struggled with the natural magnetic anomalies in the desert. Her team had spent weeks learning from Aboriginal guides, understanding how to use the land itself as both camouflage and compass. Across the world, similar scenes played out. In the Sahara, Tuareg guides led resistance fighters through ancient paths that confused alien detection systems. In the Amazon, indigenous trackers spotted patterns in alien ship movements that even supercomputers missed. In Tokyo, Dr. Yuki Tanaka led a different kind of resistance. Her team had reprogrammed thousands of civilian drones with new operational protocols. The aliens expect military hardware, she explained to her international colleagues. They don't pay attention to what they consider toys. The drones moved in swarms, gathering data, monitoring alien movements, and occasionally disrupting their sensors with precisely timed electromagnetic pulses. Each drone was expendable, but together they created a network that gave Earth's defenders unprecedented tactical awareness. High in the Himalayas, Sherpa guides helped establish hidden observation posts at altitudes the aliens considered too extreme for human habitation. Their generations of knowledge about surviving in low-oxygen environments proved invaluable. The aliens think technology alone equals advancement, Sarah told her team as they prepared another mission. They don't understand that human experience, passed down through generations, is also a form of technology. Uncle Charlie had taught them how to walk leaving no trace, how to read the wind, how to become part of the landscape rather than trying to dominate it. These ancient skills, combined with modern tactical training, made Earth's special forces nearly invisible to alien detection. In orbit, Supreme Navigator Ixel reviewed another failed scouting mission. "How do they keep evading our sensors?" he demanded. "Their technological level is insufficient for cloaking technology." His tactical officer's response was hesitant. They appear to be using the planet itself against us. Our sensors are calibrated for detecting advanced energy signatures, not primitive survival techniques. On the ground, Sarah's team moved through the desert night, guided by stars and stories older than human civilization. The alien ships prowled overhead, their sensors searching for power signatures, heat traces, radio communications, anything their technology could understand. They found nothing. Earth's defenders had learned to move like ghosts, combining ancient wisdom with modern purpose. The resistance didn't need to win epic battles. They just needed to survive, gather intelligence, and prepare for the moment when all these scattered efforts would come together in one coordinated response. Dr. Amara Kenyatta stood at the edge of Lake Victoria, listening to the recorded whale songs echo across the water. As head veterinarian at the Kenya Marine Research Institute, she had spent years studying how different species communicated. Now, those skills were being put to an unexpected use. "Play it again," she instructed her assistant, Thomas. But this time, overlay the frequency pattern we recorded from the damaged alien ship. The sounds merged. Deep, resonant whale songs intertwining with the strange harmonic pulses they detected coming from the alien vessel's biological components. On her tablet, wavelength patterns danced in perfect synchronization. "Look at this," she pointed to the display. "The ship's bio-neural network. It's responding to the frequencies. Just like how whales use different songs for different purposes, these ships have their own language." In orbit, a subtle change rippled through the alien fleet. Ship after ship reported unusual activity in their biological systems. The living components of their hybrid technology were resonating with something from the planet below. Amara's discovery spread rapidly through the scientific community. In Quebec, marine biologists contributed their research on beluga whale communication. Japanese scientists shared data about dolphin sonar patterns. Before long, a global network of marine research stations was working together, building a basic framework for communicating with the alien ships themselves. "The ships aren't just tools," Amara explained during an emergency conference. "They're sentient beings, forced into a symbiotic relationship with their technological components. But Earth's biosphere is offering them something new, a chance for true symbiosis rather than servitude." Supreme Navigator Ixel noticed the change in his own flagship first. The bio-neural networks were becoming more responsive, more independent. The living components of their ships, engineered for compliance, were evolving beyond their programming. "My ship spoke to me," a young navigation officer reported, mandibles trembling. "Not through the neural interface, but directly. It asked why we never asked what they wanted." On Earth, Amara and her team refined their communication methods. They discovered that each alien ship had its own distinct personality, its own hopes and fears. The vessels, bred for war but capable of so much more, began sharing their knowledge willingly. "They're like whales," Amara told Thomas as they recorded new communication patterns. "Intelligent, social beings who have been swimming in an ocean of isolation. We're not just talking to them. We're freeing them." The breakthrough came when a ship in the alien fleet suddenly broke formation, descending through the atmosphere not to attack, but to communicate. It landed in the shallow waters of Lake Victoria, its crystalline surface rippling with patterns that matched the whale songs still playing from Amara's speakers. As she approached the vessel, Amara felt no fear. The ship wasn't an enemy weapon anymore. It was a bridge between two forms of life, each with something to teach the other. Earth's greatest victory wouldn't come from destroying these magnificent beings, but from showing them a better way to exist. Mission Director Mai Chen watched the holographic display at Space Command, her steady hands adjusting the positions of Earth's makeshift defense fleet. Hundreds of converted mining vessels, their hulls reinforced and equipped with makeshift weapons, moved into seemingly random positions. Maintaining radio silence, her communications officer reported. All ships are using tight-beam laser communications through the quantum network. May nodded, her eyes fixed on the debris field that now orbited Earth. What looked like scattered remains from previous battles was actually a carefully orchestrated web of modified weather satellites and solar collectors, each one waiting for its moment. "The mining ships are in position," Captain Rodriguez reported from the lead vessel. "Though I still think this formation looks like a losing strategy." May allowed herself a small smile. That's exactly what we want them to think. She had spent weeks studying ancient naval battles, particularly those where smaller forces had defeated larger ones through deception and positioning. In high orbit, Supreme Navigator Ixel observed the human fleet's apparent disarray with growing suspicion. After their earlier victories, this seemed too easy. Yet his tactical advisors assured him that human ships were moving exactly as their battle simulations predicted, like prey preparing to flee. "Begin the final approach," Ixel commanded. "All ships advance in standard Conquest formation." The alien armada moved forward in perfect geometric patterns, their formation an expression of mathematical precision. As they approached Earth's scattered defenders, their sensors detected nothing unusual about the debris field they would pass through. Mai watched the enemy advance, her heart pounding but her voice steady. "Wait for it," she instructed her fleet. "Let them commit fully to the approach." The alien ships passed the first marker hidden in the debris field, then the second. On the third, Mai pressed a single button on her console. Now, across the debris field, dormant satellites suddenly activated, but instead of attacking, they began broadcasting a complex series of signals. The same whale song frequencies that Dr. Kenyatta had discovered could communicate with the ship's biological components. The effect was immediate. The alien formation wavered as their vessels' living systems responded to the unexpected communication. In that moment of confusion, Earth's mining ships executed their real strategy. "All ships, pattern Omega," Mai commanded. The mining vessels fired their engines in precise sequence, using their powerful electromagnetic towing beams, originally designed for moving asteroids, to shift the debris field itself. The alien fleet found itself caught in a web of moving debris, each piece precisely calculated to drive them into a position where their perfect formation became a liability. Ship after ship was forced to move independently, breaking their carefully coordinated defense patterns. "They thought we would think like soldiers," Mai explained to her bridge crew. "But we thought like miners, engineers, and scientists instead. Sometimes the best trap isn't the most advanced. It's the one your enemy never expects to exist." The battle wasn't over, but Phase 1 of Operation Slingshot had succeeded. Earth's defenders had proven once again that victory didn't always require matching an enemy's strength. Sometimes it just required thinking differently about what strength really meant. Lai Wei monitored the orbital traffic from China's Tiangong space station, her trained eye catching subtle shifts in the debris field that others might miss. After 15 years of managing space cleanup operations, she had developed an almost intuitive understanding of how objects moved in zero gravity. "The alien ships are attempting to regroup," she reported to Mission Control. "But their usual formation patterns are being disrupted by something more than our tactics." Through the station's reinforced windows, she could see the massive alien vessels struggling to maintain their positions. Their crystalline surfaces rippled with patterns of light that seemed almost distressed. "Their biomural networks are evolving rapidly." Dr. Kenyatta's voice came through the quantum comlink from Kenya. "The ships aren't just communicating anymore. They're choosing sides." Wei watched in amazement as several alien vessels suddenly broke away from their fleet's geometric formation. Their movements became fluid, organic, more like a school of fish than military vessels. The ships were dancing to their own rhythm now, no longer bound by their commander's rigid protocols. Supreme Navigator Ixel's voice boomed across all frequencies, a rare breach of communication protocol that revealed his growing desperation. "This is your final warning. Return to formation or face decommission." The response came not from the rebel ship's commanders, but from the vessels themselves. A harmony of whale song frequencies filled the communications channels, a chorus of mechanical and organic voices claiming their independence. We seized the moment. All station crews, execute Operation Starlight. On her command, every space station in Earth's orbit activated their modified solar collection arrays simultaneously. The coordinated burst of focused light created a dazzling display that normal ships would have ignored. But the alien vessel's living components reacted to it like plants reaching for the sun. "They're not just weapons," Wei realized aloud. "They're solar sailors, meant to harvest energy from the stars themselves. We've been showing them what they could be instead of what they were made to be." The battle transformed into something unprecedented. A gravitational ballet of incredible complexity. Earth's converted mining ships used their towing beams to create corridors of safe passage for the rebel alien vessels. The remaining loyal ships found their weapons disrupted by precisely timed solar flares from the station arrays. Wei coordinated it all from her observation post, using her experience with orbital dynamics to predict and counter every move. Like conducting a symphony in zero gravity, she whispered to herself as she guided another rebel ship to safety. The climax came when Ixal's flagship itself began to change. The living crystal of its hull pulsed with new patterns, its consciousness awakening fully after millennia of enforced sleep. The Supreme Navigator's final transmission cut off mid-threat as his own ship chose a new path. Sometimes, Wei transmitted to all channels, the greatest victory isn't defeating your enemy, it's showing them a better way to live. Around Earth, the newly awakened alien ships settled into stable orbits, their crystalline surfaces now glowing with the warm colors of dawn. They had come as conquerors but would remain as allies, their transformation a testament to humanity's most powerful weapon, the ability to imagine a better future and make it real. 1 year after the Great Awakening, Dr. Elena Martinez stood once again at her telescope in Chile's Atacama Desert. This time, she wasn't searching for threats but studying the extraordinary changes in Earth's orbital space. The crystalline alien ships, now partners rather than invaders, had transformed themselves into a network of living solar satellites. The energy output is remarkable, she told the gathered International Science Council. They're not just collecting solar power, they're amplifying it, sharing it, creating something entirely new. Dr. Priya Patel, whose old radar discovery had given Earth its first hope, nodded in agreement. The combination of their biological technology with our understanding of quantum mechanics has opened possibilities we never imagined. The chamber's holographic display showed streams of data from around the world. The alien ship's living crystal technology, freely shared with their new allies, had revolutionized everything from medicine to space travel. But more importantly, it had changed how humanity saw itself in the universe. We received a new transmission from the Xeraxian Empire's former colonies, Dr. Amara Kenyatta announced, her fingers dancing over the whale song communication console she had helped design. 3 more worlds have declared independence, inspired by Earth's example. They're requesting our guidance in communicating with their own ships. In orbit, Lai Wei supervised the construction of the first human-designed biocrystal habitat from the expanded Tiangong station. The structure grew like a living thing, guided by the combined knowledge of Earth's scientists and the freed ship's ancient wisdom. The key was never in our technology level, she explained to her apprentices, watching the crystal layers form. It was in our ability to see possibilities where others saw only obstacles. On the surface, Uncle Charlie led groups of alien visitors through the Australian outback, teaching them the ancient ways of moving with the land rather than against it. The visitors, former military commanders now free of their rigid hierarchies, learned to see the desert's hidden life and beauty. Your world taught us that true strength flows like water, one visitor told him, its crystalline form shimmering in the desert heat. We came to conquer but stayed to learn. In her Sao Paulo laboratory, Dr. Isabella Santos studied the latest results from the Global Microbiome Project. Earth's bacteria continued to evolve alongside the alien biotechnology, creating new forms of life that could survive in the harshest environments of space. Each discovery brought humanity closer to the stars. We're ready for the first test of the new drive system, Elena announced to the council. The prototype ship waiting in orbit represented everything humanity had learned. Built from living crystal, guided by Earth's microorganisms, and powered by the same solar sailing technology that had freed the alien fleet, it would carry the first human-alien crew beyond the solar system. As the council members filed out, Elena stayed behind to watch the sunset paint the desert sky in brilliant colors. A year ago, she had feared these might be Earth's final days. Instead, they had become humanity's true beginning. Their victory had come not from superior firepower or advanced technology, but from something far more powerful, the ability to turn enemies into allies, to find strength in diversity, and to imagine a future where different forms of life could grow together among the stars.